special meeting today for the purpose of reviewing the recommendations of the Plan Committee for the plan designs for 2024. And I want to start by thanking the Plan Committee for all their hard work. They do this a bit as unsung heroes for every year, and this is this is the end of some significant work on their part. So let me start by thanking them. Before we go further, we need to take a roll of who's here. This is Charlie Klippel, present.
Thank you. Paul Philpott. Cece Woods.
Here.
Thomas McNeil.
Here.
Grant Ritter.
Here.
Dietrich Gifford. Steve Hernandez.
Here.
Matthew Brackman.
Here.
Andrea Barton-Rees, Commissioner from DSS. Claudia Gaultier on behalf of Secretary Jeffrey Beckham from OPM. Theodore Dolittle from OHA. Caroline Zambetti on behalf of Commissioner Nancy Navarrete from DMS.
Here.
Thank you. Paul Lombardo on behalf of Commissioner Andrew Mace, Connecticut Insurance Department.
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Manisha Tutani, Department of Public Health. Thank you.
All right. Could I ask also the officers of the company to introduce themselves as well? James.
Good morning. This is James Michelle, AHCT, Connecticut.
Good morning, Gina Walsh, Director of Operations.
Good morning, Susan Rich-By, Director of Legal and Governmental Affairs, Access Health.
Good morning, everybody. John Carbone, Director of Small Group Product Development and Broker Support.
Good morning, everyone. Glenn Jurgen, Director of Human Resources with Access Health Connecticut.
Good morning, Tammy Hendricks, Director of Health Equity and Outreach, Access Health Connecticut.
Good morning, Janelle Maloney, Information Technology Director at Access AHCT.
Thank you. I think we have everyone. And I believe we're also joined by Julie Andrews of Wakely today, but we will discover that in a moment. There is no public comment, I understand, from Marcin. So we will go directly to the purpose of this special meeting, which is to talk about the plan specifications for 2024. And with that, I think, Susan, I will give you and Kelly and Julie the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We're going to start out today, and first let me just say thank you to everybody for making time for this meeting. I know we had started out the year saying we were not going to have a March meeting, and then I chimed in saying we needed one. So I really appreciate everybody making themselves available. As you know, we need to do this because the filing deadlines with the insurance department have moved up for this year. So we need to get everything ready to get the solicitation out to the plans. So we'll start off this morning with the 2024 regulatory variables. So on the federal side, as everybody hopefully knows at this point, the enhanced subsidies that started under the American Rescue Plan Act in 2021 will continue for consumers through plan year 2025, which is a wonderful thing from the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed last year. And also something that has generated a great deal of attention of the last several months is the unwind of the Medicaid continuous eligibility will begin on March 31st, 2023. So we will have some new consumers who are becoming eligible for qualified health plans starting in this year and going into 2024 as part of that unwind. And on the state level, there is no new legislation having an impact on plan designs that we're aware of at this point. So we should be good. And just to remind everyone from the estimates that DSS and Access Health have been sharing, there are about 430,000 people that are part of that continuous eligibility population that will start for the unwind. It will go over a 12-month period, and we've estimated about 95,000 of those individuals to be eligible for a qualified health plan, including possibly covered Connecticut and various types of subsidies, versus the probably 3/4 of the population that will remain eligible for either Medicaid or transitional medical assistance. So if there are no questions, I will turn it over to Kelly. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Cody, Carrier Product Manager for Access Health. And so just a couple things before we get started. Reminder to the group that back in January, Susan had provided the board with an overview of the plan management certification timeline. And at that time, she had indicated that the Health Plan Benefits and Qualifications Advisory Committee, also referred to as the HPBQ, which is a little easier to say, had already met, started the work, and with the understanding that the work that needed to be done by the committee needed to be accelerated as a result of the expedited rate and form filing date of June 1st. And also at that time, she had communicated that we anticipated having the plan designs, standardized plan design recommendations to this board for review late February, early March. And the group was able to accomplish that. There was a lot of work that went into it. And so with the, a lot of hard work did go into this. Wakely Consulting was involved, as well as the carriers and every individual on the phone. So further on into this presentation, Wakely and I will present to you the standardized plan designs for both the QHP and the SADB products. As mentioned, since January, this committee has met multiple times. We've had some really great conversations relating to how the changes may have had an impact to our consumers and requesting some meaningful data from plan management, from our participating carriers, and from Wakely, which is all used in considering making the consideration for the plan recommendations. Some of the information that was collected and shared included consumer enrollment information, consumer purchasing behaviors, and claim utilization. Using this data, the group was successful in meeting its objective, which is to provide recommendations for the standardized plan designs that meet both the state and federal requirements, but continue to offer quality healthcare options for the residents of Connecticut. Before we get into the details of the proposed standardized plan designs, please note that the insurance carriers, existing and potential, are advised of the Access Health certification requirements through the QHP and SADP solicitations each year, and then determine whether they want to offer plans through the exchange based on that guidance. This document also includes information needed to create the rate and form filings that are due to be submitted to the SID on June 1st for the 2024 plan year. In order for the issuers to have sufficient time to develop their plans and rates, Access Health targets the release of both solicitations shortly after the Board of Directors approval of the HBBQ AC plan recommendations is received. So we will be seeking board approval for the recommendations of these plan designs for the individual market for plan year 2024 today. Julie Andrews of Wakely Consulting will walk you through the proposed QHP plan design changes. And again, I will go over the SADP plan designs. One further note before we start, at this time, Marcia, you could go back up to the other exhibit. At this time, federal guidance pertaining to the maximum out-of-pocket, actuarial value calculator, and IRS regulations have not been finalized. However, given the need to move forward with ample time for issuers to prepare their rate and form filings, and also to submit the application to Access Health, which is also due June 1st, we will be presenting this information based on what we know now. And if necessary, we will adjust once final guidance is available. If the proposed plan design changes are determined not to be in compliance with the final federal guidance, this could result in the need to bring the standardized plans back for review again with this board in the near future. If there are no questions from this group, I will continue to discuss the slide that is before you. Okay. Well, for those of you who have been on the board for some time, you will probably recognize this exhibit. This represents our plan mix for the individual and small group medical and dental plans that are offered through the exchange. The left side of the screen shows the medical plans at each metal level and the number of plans carriers are required to submit, as well as the number of optional plans they may submit. For the individual market, Access Health requires that each carrier submit 4 standardized plans, but allows each carrier to submit an additional 9 non-standard plans, totaling to a maximum of 13 plans. For shop or small group, there are no standardized plan requirements, but carriers must submit a minimum of 5 plans. That includes certain parameters, such as the inclusion of both in and out of network coverage, pediatric dental EHB coverage. We require that their silver and bronze plans include an HSA compatible and a plan that is not HSA compatible. And a carrier may offer an additional 15 optional plans, allowing the carrier to offer a maximum of 20 plans. The right side of the slide displays the plan mix for the dental plans. There's no difference in the plan mix requirements across the markets. Access Health requires that each carrier submit 1 standardized plan with the option to include or exclude out-of-network coverage. A carrier may offer an additional 3 optional plans, totaling to a maximum of 4 plans offered in each market. Like the previous year, the HBBQ is not recommending any changes to the medical or dental plan mix for plan year 2024. Before moving to the next slide, are there any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So this next slide talks about some of the steps that were taken during the design stage. We're not going to get into all the details, but this is, you know, this is the crux of some of the things that this group needs to do. So when initiating the review process for the standardized plans, the previous year plan designs are used as the starting point. And then Wakely uses regional utilization data and the draft actuarial value calculator to calculate the estimated actuarial values and identify which standardized plans may be out of compliance for the upcoming plan year. So essentially that's our starting point with the carriers and the group. The assessment of the AV actuarial value or the mental health parity compliance can differ amongst the carriers for the standardized plans as they conduct their analysis using their own methodology and claim data. Wakely collaborated with the 3 insurance companies offering plans through Access Health to analyze the impact and develop those plan options to present during the HBBQ Advisory Committee for discussion and vote. The standardized standalone dental plan has also been reviewed for plan year 2024. So again, I've really simplified the process here for the sake of this meeting, but I also would like to take a moment to thank both Wakely and the carriers for all their work in developing these quality medical and dental plans for the state of Connecticut residents that seek coverage through our exchange. Next slide, please. So here, before Wakely gets into their discussion, this is really just a summary of the recommended plan design changes for 2024 for your reference. I would like to point out that for plan year 2023, we had changes to the medical deductible and out-of-pocket maximum. But this year, the committee was able to leave all the plan deductibles as is and implemented only changes to the out-of-pocket maximum where necessary. You will notice that there were no plan changes to the Silver 70 CSR plan, and that the Silver 87 CSR actually had a decrease in out-of-pocket maximum for plan year 2024. For the for the standardized standalone dental plan, the HBBQ has recommended no changes for plan year 2024. So with that said, I will pass it along to Julie Andrews of Wakely Consulting.
Thank you, Kelly. I'd like to go ahead and go to the next slide. So as mentioned, we're going to go through some of the proposed regulatory changes, the impact of the proposed actuarial value calculator, and the plan designs as proposed by the committee. We go ahead and advance to the next slide.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Before you do that, I'm sorry, I did have my hand up. I did have a question or a request. In the previous slide, where there were references to no changes, or yeah, if we can just go back a little bit. Being new to the board, I don't have a point of reference, so I don't really know what no change means because I don't know what the other deductibles were or what the out-of-pocket maximums were. So is there a way that I can get that information because it's doesn't seem to be here?
Yes, I will be presenting it shortly, all of the plans side by side with the existing 2023 plan and the proposed 2024 plan that you will be reviewing and voting on.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, and the same for I apologize, for the dental plan as well. Further down in the presentation, the plan design is actually in there.
All right, thank you.
And James, would you mind following up after this meeting just to send a hard copy of that, just so everybody can take a look? I understand Andrea's point, and it's well taken. Let's Julie will touch on it, but let's make sure everybody has a copy of the plans afterwards.
And Charlie, sorry, this is Susan. Everyone has a copy of this whole deck in their invitation for this meeting.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
The PDF is there. So sorry.
All right. Excellent. Thanks.
Okay. So again, to reiterate what Kelly mentioned before we start, there's really kind of 4 key elements that we need to use as guideposts when we develop the standard plan designs. The first is the notice of benefit and payment parameters, which is a federal regulation, which primarily sets, a lot of components for the filings and the plan designs for 2024. And one of the key elements is the maximum out-of-pocket for all plans, as well as the cost sharing reduction variations. The second is the federal actuarial value calculator tool itself, which is an Excel-based tool which is used to define the actuarial value after consideration of all cost sharing. And by actuarial value, what I mean is the projected percentage of cost to be paid by the issuer versus the consumer. And then the third is the IRS regulation defining the minimum deductible and maximum out-of-pocket for healthcare savings accounts. And then the final element is that we really need to work with the issuers and get their analysis of the federal actuarial value and mental health parity testing, as they are required to attest to it when they do their own filings with the Connecticut Insurance Department. So just going ahead onto the next page is a summary of what are the changes that are proposed in the notice of benefit and payment parameters. And the 2024 proposal is to increase the maximum out-of-pocket from the 2023 maximum of $9,100 to $9,450. As well as the additional increases to the maximum out-of-pocket as noted for the different cost sharing reduction variations. The HSA regulation doesn't usually come out with IRS guidance until May of each year. So we are using the 2023 limitations as our guidance. As Kelly noted, all of these regulations are still in a proposed method or are proposed, and finalization is unknown. And so as we go forward with the understanding that, once regulations are finalized, adjustments may need to be made. The next slide, I'll is information about the federal actuarial value calculator tool. The tool has not changed with regards to the underlying data supporting and measuring that's used to measure the cost sharing. It's still based on 2018. However, they do trend the data forward to the proposed plan year 2024. So you can see in the middle there's several different years and different trends. Medical trend has varied from 3 to 6% in the tool. And pharmacy trend has run higher, varying from 4 to 9% in the tool. One of the key changes, not being data and trend, is that there were some algorithmic changes in how the actual calculator tool works. And one of the most important ones is the treatment of copays. Prior to 2024's proposed regulation, copays used to accumulate to the deductible. This will no longer occur. They will only accumulate to the maximum out of pocket. And this is more in line with the industry standards and how it's treated in the marketplace. And that was something that had to be adjusted for by issuers to align the actuarial value calculator results with how they actually managed and adjudicated benefits. And as noted, the tool is also in proposed or draft mode, waiting to be finalized.
Julie, can I stop you for 1 sec there and just ask a question? So on that earlier slide, we said there were no changes in the deductibles. This change in the calculation, is it an implicit change in the deductible?
You mean the algorithmic change I mentioned?
Yes.
No, it does not change the deductible. What it did is the tool would, accumulate like copays used at your physician or, for drugs to the deductible. And so normally you pay the deductible and copays are not subject to the deductible. So that was an oddity in the way the tool worked and not how the industry normally treats those types of benefits. And so there was an adjustment that needed to be made to the tools for all carriers for using it.
So it's just a calculator change, not a consumer change.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
So going forward, you'll see two tables here, and on the top table, it shows the 2024 proposed actuarial value ranges for each metal tier. So these are the ranges that the tool or the calculations need to fall within to be compliant with regards to the metal tier. The second row shows the 2023 actuarial value results. And then the bottom row of the table shows the ranges for the 2023 plan as calculated under the 2024 calculator. And you can see where the ranges are in red. We had issuer calculations fall outside the compliant range, meaning that we needed to make adjustments for 2024 to bring the plans into compliance. And just to tie it in, so for a gold plan, the range of the actuarial range allowable is 78% to 82%, meaning that the issuer is responsible for 78 to 82% of cost sharing. The actuarial value range in 2023 ran from 81.4 to 81.6, and the 2023 plans under the 2024 calculator, the one plan was at 83.15, so that exceeded the allowable range of 82%. You can also see in the second table all of the cost sharing reduction variants were also out of compliance. And for those that are new, the cost sharing reduction variants are variants to the standard silver plan, where individuals at certain federal poverty levels may have or are allowed or provided lower cost sharing. If we go ahead to the next slide, one more. Thank you, Martin. There are several key categories that are built into the federal actuarial value calculator, but there are several that are not specific to the calculator. They're considered de minimis or small enough in utilization to not be impactful. However, they do have their own unique cost sharing and considerations, and this is a list of several of those examples. On the next slide, I just wanted to point out some additional information just to clarify as I demonstrate the slides on the next few slides. The services are for in-network only unless specified as being out of network. Only in-network services are subject to the AV requirement, and so out-of-network services are excluded from the analysis. The deductible and maximum out-of-pockets are presented at the individual level unless specified, and family limits are 2 times the individual limits with the cost sharing at the family level embedded. Preventative services are covered with no cost sharing for consumers. So if we go on to the first plan that we looked at, this was the gold plan. So on the left are several of the key benefit categories that are used in the actuarial value calculator, and presented in the column next to it are the 2023 plan design features. And then the next 3 columns represent 3 different plan option scenarios that were presented and that the committee reviewed to explore as far as bringing the plans into compliance, as shown by the bottom row of the table, where the actuarial value ranges are in the black and within the 78 to 82% range. In reviewing the plan options, as noted, they chose plan option 1, where only the maximum out-of-pocket was impacted and increased from the current level of $6,000 to the $7,375 level. Are there any questions on the gold plan? Otherwise, I will go ahead and move on towards the silver option plans. So these are all the silver option standard plan, along with the 3 cost sharing reduction variants. As noted, the standard silver plan was compliant under the 2024 calculator and no change was required. The 73, 87, and 94% plan, as shown, these are the 2023 plans, is not compliant, as shown by the bottom row, where you'll see the red actuarial value ranges. On the next slide are the proposed plans. The 2024 proposed plan for the standard silver remains the same as the 2023 plan. The 73% cost sharing variant will have the maximum out-of-pocket increase from $7,250 to the shown $7,475. The 87% plan will change from the $3,000 down to the $2,925. And the 94% plan will increase the maximum out-of-pocket from $950 to $1,050, as shown. If we advance to the next slide, this is the bronze non-HSA compliant plan. Upon review, the plan to bring it into compliance with metal level tier ranges required the maximum out-of-pocket to be decreased from $8,800 to $9,100, as shown. And then finally, the HSA plan required an increase from $7,000 maximum out-of-pocket to $7,225 for in-network coverage. And that brought the plans back into compliance. And I know I've gone through them very fast, so I don't know if anybody has any questions or would like to go back and review any plans. Otherwise, that's the end of the presentation, and I can turn it back over to you, Charles.
Julie, could you back up 2 slides?
Yes.
I'm just trying to understand the presentation.
Yes.
So, oh, I see. So it reduced the, if I look at what the change was, it reduced the out-of-pocket maximum to 75 under option 1.
So option 1, you actually need to compare to the slide before it. So Martin, if you go to before, and you see the 73% plan, which is the third column from the left, and you see the maximum out of pocket is 7,250. And then if you go in advance, so what I did was I put together the standard plan along with all the cost sharing variants side by side. So I apologize if that was confusing.
Oh, I see how you did it. All right. I understand. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So, Julie, thank you very much for the presentation. Let me just turn a moment to Susan and ask if there's any other sort of parts of the presentation before we proceed.
No, this is the presentation on the medical plans, and then Kelly has a brief presentation to just show you for the standalone dental plans, because the committee is not recommending any change to the standard plan for the dental. Kelly just wanted to put up the plan design for you and just go through it quickly so everybody could have an understanding of that and of the committee's thinking about not making a change.
Okay. Well, that's terrific. Thank you. We are, as the board, need to vote to approve these recommendations from the committee. It's encouraging to see that they are minor changes, which I think is a great thing. So I feel good about where you all have come out this year. It feels like particularly not changing the deductibles is a very positive step for the consumers here. So I am pleased to see that we are not making major changes here, but we need to approve these changes. So I would invite any discussion, but then I'm going to ask for a series of votes to approve the various changes that have been made.
Thank you. And if Kelly could just do the dental, then that way we can run through everything all together for the votes.
Perfect. Let's let her do that, and then we can vote on those as well. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
That'll be an easy vote, I hope, because you're not changing anything, but go ahead.
Exactly. Yes. So in front of you is the 2023 and 2024 standardized plan design, or recommended 2024 standard plan design. As you can see, there are no red marks on here. So the group has opted not to make any plan changes. Each year, similar to the QHP maximum out of pocket, CMS updates the maximum out of pocket for the dental plan, but the limitation only applies to the pediatric services. And what I'm referring to is the on the left side of the screen, it is the second box down where it says out of pocket maximum for one child or two or more children. And those amounts are $350 and $700. The group did look at the impact to the rates should we have brought those amounts up in $25 increments. And being that the rate impact was so minimal, the group felt that it was best to recommend just leaving the out-of-pocket maximums alone for the 2024 plan year. So that was all I needed to say about that plan and the work that they did.
And hopefully everyone can see that the plan for the EHB benefit that's in the dental plan, which is the pediatric dental, as Kelly mentioned, is a very rich, comprehensive plan, for children. And that actually goes up to age 26 now, based on legislation that was passed, I believe, 2 years ago, the state legislature. The ACA age is 19, but Connecticut passed legislation taking it up to the 26th birthday.
Thank you. All right, so without hearing further discussion, these are a series of sort of formulaic votes. So I'm going to read the vote and then ask for the approval, if you would. So the first vote I'm asking for is relates to the gold plan, and it is a request, a motion to recommend, and then ultimately a vote to approve option 1 presented by Wakely Consulting for the gold plan for plan year 2024.
Hi, this is Grant. I move to accept the option 1.
Thank you, Grant. Second?
Second by CC.
Thank you, CC. This is Charlie Klippel, yes.
Mr. Chair, is there a discussion on the motion?
I'm sorry. Any discussion on this vote? Hearing none, yes, from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Philpott. Claudio Gualtieri. Dietrich Gifford. Grant Ritter.
Yes, here. Yes.
Thank you. Steven Hernandez.
Yes.
Andrea Borton Reeves.
Yes.
Tito Doolittle.
Yes.
CC Woods.
Yes.
Thomas McNeil.
Yes.
And Matthew Brackman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The second vote I would ask, I'd like approval for the option 1 presented by Wakely for the standard bronze non-HSA plan for 2024.
Yes.
Marsden's going to ask me for discussion, but otherwise, could I have a motion for that approval?
Hi, this is Grant. I make this motion.
Thank you very much.
Tom McNeil, second.
Thank you, Tom. I hear no discussion, so Charlie Klippel, yes.
Thank you.
Charlie, could I make a comment, please?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Sorry, I'm in the car, so I don't know how to raise my hand from the car. But I just remind everybody that when you're talking about the AV plan, it really is a little deceiving. For instance, if you're talking about a 74% AV, the insurer has to pay 74% of the claims for the whole community. But I just want to remind my board member colleagues that the individuals almost all never hit their deductible. So the individuals, except for their preventative care, do wind up paying for most of their own care. So I just wanted to put that into folks' minds. These deductibles are high, and these plans are not wonderful for that reason, and that's what makes it tough to serve on this subcommittee, and also this makes it one of the more tough votes because these are verging on catastrophic plans. So I just wanted to put that reminder on the record, Charlie. Thank you for allowing me the time to do that.
No, it's a very fair point, and I thank you for raising it. The actuarial calculation includes those few people who receive a great deal of coverage because they've hit their out-of-pocket maximum. So it's a fair point that we should take these deductibles as not trivial for our membership.
And Charlie, if I could just add something we've been talking about a lot, just to add to what Ted is saying, to just remember that the plans do, many of these standard plans that we're approving today, standard silver, bronze, non-HSA, and the gold plans, do offer a lot of services that are not subject to the deductible. So they don't have to meet the deductible to visit a PCP or specialist, mental health and substance abuse office visits, lab services, and generic drugs. And the standard silver plans have separate low deductibles for generic drugs. Just so Ted is, absolutely on point, but just to remember that there are a lot of services that people use every day that are not subject to that deductible.
Also a very fair point. So it contributes a bit to the complication of these plans. But in the end of the day, that's actually a positive, as you point out, Susan. All right, back to the proceedings at hand, but noting those comments as important to the discussion. We had, I think, a nomination. And a second. So This is the vote on approving the standard bronze non-HSA plan, and Charlie Klippel, yes.
Thank you. Paul Philpott, Claudia Gualtieri, Deidre Gifford, Grant Ritter,
Yes.
Steven Hernandez,
Yes.
Andrea Barton Reeves,
Yes.
Peter Doolittle,
Yes, yes.
CC Woods,
Yes.
Thomas McNeil,
Yes.
and Matthew Brackman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next vote, thank you all. Next vote is for the approval of the standard HSA bronze plan for 2024 as presented by Wakely Consulting.
Yes. Hi, Grant, motion to approve.
Thank you, Grant.
Seconded, Tom McNeil.
Thank you, Tom. Discussion? If not, Charlie Klippel, yes.
Thank you. Paul Philpott, Claudia Gualtieri, Deidre Gifford, Grant Ritter,
Yes.
Steven Hernandez,
Yes.
Andrea Barton Reeves,
Yes.
Peter Doolittle,
Yes.
CC Woods,
Yes.
Thomas McNeil,
Yes.
and Matthew Brackman. Mr. Brackman, you're muted. Mr. Brackman, are you voting in affirmative?
Did we lose Matthew? We might have lost him for a moment.
I think we might have. I defer to you, Mr. Chair.
He votes yes by email here, so in the chat. So thank you.
Okay, great.
Probably got called to something. Thank you very much. So the next vote is to approve the 2023 standard silver plan and the current 2023 standard standalone dental plans as the 2024 plans. So in other words, we're not making any changes. So we're just approving for 2024 the plans we had in 2023 for the standard silver plan and for the dental plans. Any discussion of that?
First, I'd like to make a
could I have a
motion.
nomination? Sorry, could I have
Grant,
a
motion to
motion,
approve.
please?
Yeah. Motion to approve, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Seconded, Tom McNeil.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. Discussion?
Yes, hi, this is Grant. I thought we actually lowered the out of pocket or something on the standard silver plan.
That was for the 87% CSR grant.
Oh, okay. All right. I see. So the
Sorry.
standard silver plan is exactly the same. Fine. Thank you.
Exactly.
Got it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Charlie Klippel, yes.
Thank you. Paul Philpott, Claudia Gualtieri, Deidre Gifford, Grant Ritter,
Yes.
Steven Hernandez,
Yes.
Andrea Barton Reeves, Commissioner Reeves. Thank you. Peter Doolittle,
Yes.
CC Woods,
Yes.
Thomas McNeil,
Yes.
and Matthew Brackman.
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Chair, we have to go back to one vote because
I was wondering that because
yes.
there was a very complex vote that I think I may have skipped over. So it is the one. It is vote number 2 under your
annotated agenda. Yep.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So bear with me because this is a complicated one. A motion to recommend the board approve and then a vote. The silver 73% option number 1, the silver 87% option number 1, the silver 94% option number 1 as presented by Wakely as the plans for 2024. So you recall those were presented as a group in Julie's one of Julie's slides. But if I could get a motion to approve those 3 plans, that would be helpful.
Yes. Hi, Grant. Motion to approve.
Thanks, Grant.
Seconded, Tom McNeil.
Thank you, Tom. Again, complicated vote. Any discussion? All right. With that, then, Charlie Klippel, yes.
Thank you. Paul Philpott, Claudia Gualtieri, Deidre Gifford, Grant Ritter,
Yes.
Steven Hernandez,
Yes.
Andrea Barton Reeves,
Yes.
Thank you. Theodore Dolittle,
Yes.
Cece Woods,
Yes.
Thomas McNeil,
Yes.
and Matthew Brackman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Have I skipped anything else, Marcin?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I apologize. Look, again, I want to thank the committee for the work that went into this. I want to thank Julie for her work as well. This is always a complicated thing. I think we've produced a good result for this coming year, so I am appreciative of that. I want to thank you all, the board members, for taking the time out for this special meeting today. And with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move, Cece.
Thank you, Cece.
Second, Andrea.
Thank you.
Joe Sklippel,
Yes.
Paul Philpott, Claudio Gualtieri, Deidre Gifford, Grant Ritter,
Yes.
Steve Hernandez,
Yeah.
Andrea Barton Reeves, Theodore Dolittle,
Yes.
Cece Woods,
Yes.
Thomas McNeil,
Yes.
and Matthew Brackman.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thank you all
Bye-bye.
very much.
Thanks,
and
everyone.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.